I saw, unfortunately, you had to bring some pretty gruesome photos, and I have to say, I hope those photos aren't real, and I have my doubts because recently you posted an AI-generated image of a charred infant corpse.
No, I didn't.
Oh my God. What are we doing here, guys?
So, if your entire argument, once again, is predicated on terror groups, what response do you have about the Great March of Return, which is a very well-documented incident where peacefully
The Great March of Return.
Palestinian civilians just marched to their own land that they have a right to go and return to, but they were killed, shot at, and murdered in cold blood.
What year are we talking about? Which group are we talking about? I need more.
Oh, he doesn't know exactly about this incident. Oh, so this will be interesting hearing him respond to this.
I know I'm asking for more specificity because I'm unaware of all the details of what you're speaking about.
So the Great March of Return, very specifically, I believe, refers to the 2018 protest here. This is probably what she's speaking about, I would say. There are multiple March of Returns. The most famous one? Oh, whenever I've heard the Great March of Return, usually it's in reference to this one here. You're telling me there are multiple Great Marches of Return? Is that possible? There might have been multiple marches, but I'm pretty sure when we say the Great March of Return, I'm pretty sure we're talking about this one. But we'll see.
Great March of Return.
For more specificity because I'm unaware of all the details of what you're speaking about.
So the Great March of Return is a well-documented instance where many Palestinians, after a tweet by a Palestinian, encouraged other Palestinians to go march peacefully back to their land.
Which land is theirs? What are we talking about?
They're talking about from marching from Gaza to Israel because that's their land. All of Israel. From the river to the sea.
Occupied Palestine.
Are you talking about in proper Israel? Where are we talking about? Like which areas?
We're talking about on the borders of Palestine, and we're also talking about their right to return.
The borders of the Gaza Strip, right? That's what she's talking about. Is she aware of that? It's the borders of the Gaza Strip. That's where they were marching from, right?
There is no right to return. If you're talking about in Palestine, if you're talking about the land that is inside the 67 borders, there is no right of return to Haifa. There's no right of return to Tel Aviv. There's no right of return to West Jerusalem.
So you have to remember.
We're getting super sidetracked. I don't know. Does she not know what she's talking about? Or I'm very confused by the summary of that. I'm super confused by her summary of the March of Return. But okay, but now we're talking about right of return, I guess.
That there.
I think Ben probably knows, but it's playing dumb to make her trip up. I don't know. He might not know. It's possible that he lives in America, right? I don't know if he knows about every single Palestinian event or every single Gaza event. I think the point is that she doesn't. Or I don't know. Okay.
Tel Aviv, there's no right of return to West Jerusalem.
So you have to remember that there are many, many, many elders who are older than the state of Israel. You have to remember that Palestine is not a Muslim land. You are equating this to a religious conflict. It's not.
This is. Do you think there are parts that are edited from this? Because this is like a totally random clip, or this is like a really random pivot, but okay.
In Palestine, before it was occupied, you had Jews, Christians, and Muslims peacefully coexisting. Palestine is not a Muslim homeland. It's a land that existed where many people that are alive to this day are older than the state of Israel.
So are you making the argument that any population of any time, all of their descendants now have a right to go back to the place that their great-great-great-great-great-grandfathers went?
Great-great-great-grandfather. We have grandmothers.
Okay, grandmothers, grandfathers. Is that the idea that you can walk across the lines of any sovereign state and simply claim the place that you said that you had, even though you never established property rights, and say the Jordanian West Bank, or you abandon this place in Haifa? So your claim is that right now people get to walk across the border of a sovereign nation and simply set up shop in Haifa? This is your claim?
Okay.
So if you're, okay,
Good one,
so
Chief.
even if we were to buy what you're saying, which is obviously not true, I encourage you to Google about the Great March of Return, which was a peaceful resistance against a wrongful occupation of Palestine. Even if you were to buy what you were
Can you just...
I'm getting triggered because I don't think she actually knows what this is. I feel like she Googled this or she got a headline from a tweet called The Great March of Return and she doesn't actually know anything about the event. It's actually incredibly triggering. I don't know. It feels like, because if she wanted to, if she knew anything about it, she could probably beat him up a little bit over the event, right? She would be able to say that over 200 Palestinians on the ground were shot and killed by IDF people that were on the fence. She could try to make the argument that the majority of the protesters were peaceful. She could probably try to make the argument that the UN investigated all of these deaths. When the UN investigated the shootings, so the IDF claimed that the march was incredibly violent because there were people throwing over incendiary balloons, throwing over Molotov cocktails, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. When the UN did their investigation of the IDF shootings of the people on the ground, the UN concluded of the 200 plus deaths, only one of them were like militarily justified or represented a significant threat, right? But it sounds like she's not aware of any of this, so she can't make any actual appeal to the fact of the matter. She just said a thing, and I don't understand. Yeah. All of these students are at Oxford, right? This is like an Ivy League school. These should be very, very, very smart people. The fact that she doesn't specify that it was one in 2018, 2019, yeah, I don't understand why she doesn't seem to have any information about this event. It's her event to bring up. But now she's like backed away from that argument because she doesn't know anything about this at all, I think. Yeah, I don't understand at all why she would do this, but okay.
Hi. If Israel is justified in killing civilians because of the acts of terror committed by Hamas, why isn't Hamas justified in doing what it did? Because Israel is keeping 13,000 children. It has tried them in military courts. Since the establishment of Israel, 55,000 Palestinian homes have been bulldozed. So why isn't Hamas justified in doing what it did if we use your logic?
Why are these pro-Palestine arguments so dog shit?
My answer is that Israel would not be justified in killing Palestinian civilians because of the actions of terrorists. Israel would be justified in attempting to kill terrorists, and civilian casualties are a cost of war. That is just a reality of life. During World War II, there were 70,000 Brits who died during the Blitz bombing, and there were 2 million Germans who died, civilians who died during World War II. And I don't see a lot of monuments in Britain because of the 2 million civilians who died in Germany. The costs of war are brutal, they're terrible, they're horrifying. There's a vast difference in moral scope between deliberately going into a civilian area and murdering everyone you can find and trying to kill a terrorist who is deliberately hiding beneath a civilian.
Do you think Israel is justified in killing civilians using your logic? Ben's answer: there is a difference between going in and deliberately killing civilians versus attacking infrastructure and killing civilians through collateral damage. Okay. What are like 3 instances of, we've got the Lavon affair, we've got that Kafr Qasim massacre, we've got the, I think the Samu incident, Sabra and Chintilla. I'm trying to think of anything else. There's probably more. I'm sure we could find more. I mean, I think that he'd concede that sometimes Israeli citizens orchestrated massacres. Would he? Because in none of his videos where he talks about this, I have never, ever seen him concede that Israel has committed massacres. I have never heard that in my entire life. Not a single time from Ben Shapiro. Maybe he does, but if he does, I've never seen it. And if you have a link of him conceding any of that, I would be very interested in seeing it. I've never seen him do that. All of his takes regarding it are ultra pro-Zionist with almost no, representation of the other side. But maybe he does somewhere and I just haven't seen it. So he would not call it a massacre. He would call it war and self-defense. That's fine, but then he would lose the debate on the facts because he wouldn't know. The Lavon affair was not war and self-defense. This was the Mossad literally attempting to orchestrate terror attacks on civilians in Egypt. The Deir Yassin massacre was literally, this is given for one of the reasons why Arabs started to flee after the Israel declared independence. And the Irgun and the Lehi are literally known as like the more extremist. Like, I'm pretty sure the Haganah like literally chastised these groups for massacring people in villages. This Kafr Qasim massacre was, I'm pretty sure it was literally soldiers. This might have even been the Haganah. I don't remember. Or no, it was the IDF by this point. I'm sorry. Was literally, I think, shooting, like sniping people walking back to their village after a curfew had been called that they weren't even aware of, right? The Samu incident was, I'm trying to remember which one. This was a landmine killed like 3 soldiers, and Israel went in, and I think they wiped out like 1 or 2 villages. And I think there are even like soldiers stating that like, this shit was the Sabra and Shatila massacre. Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I don't know why I'm responding to that chatter. I'm right on this. F you. Or not that I'm right on this, but if Ben tried to respond in that manner to at least the 5 incidents that I've listed, and I'm sure I could find more if I go and search for him, he would get absolutely annihilated on the facts. It would not be good. I don't even know if he would though. But okay. Boom, 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 boom. I have a feeling he wouldn't be familiar with many of these if he wasn't familiar with the Great March of Return. That'd be my guess. But who knows? Maybe he is.
Civilian area, hiding their rockets in civilian areas, starving their own people. There is a vast difference. Okay, so let me, now I get to ask my question, if you don't mind. So my question is, do you believe that there is a moral difference between Hamas going into, for example, Kfar Aza and murdering entire families, and Israel attempting to target terrorists and accidentally hitting civilians?
Israel is effectively doing the same because Gaza is the most densely populated region in the world. There are 50.
First of all, somebody emailed me this. That's not true. No part of Gaza, not Gaza City proper and not Gaza, is the most densely populated thing in the world. That's just completely and totally fake. I don't know where people... Wait, what? Hold on. I don't know where people get this idea from. Oh, good one. Hold on. I don't know where people get this idea from or where this meme started. If somebody wants to tell me, I'd be interested, but... I think somebody linked me. Even like the most densely populated part of Gaza is, I think it's like the 80th in the world. I don't know why people keep spreading this around. Gaza is definitely densely populated, but is nowhere near the most densely populated area. The Gaza Strip would not even be on the list of highest populated densities for cities proper. The Gaza Strip is outside of the top 80. It's not included there. Gaza City does have a better argument, but it's still not even close. It's ranked as number 80 on that list. Keep in mind that Gaza City is about 17 square miles. Manila, the Philippines, is roughly the same size and is more than 3 times as densely populated. So whoever says that's not true.
15,000 people per square mile.
So does Hamas get
Over
immunity
half of
because
the
they're there? So
population's
Hamas gets
children.
immunity. So
Israel has killed 3,500 children in the past 3 weeks. That's more
Okay, so we're just...
children. That's more children than have died in conflicts around the world in
For the
each of
past
the last
4
4
years.
years.
So just to be clear-
I've heard these memes. It's literally people reading like meme posts. She's getting her information from memes online. I know all the arguments. They come from memes. What